What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Spoiling Movies. My name is Chris, and I'm going to tell you all about a movie I just watched, and it's basically just going to be a movie review with spoilers in it. I'm going to explain it fairly in-depth and give you my opinions on it at the end. Apparently, Iron Sky 2 just came out in January of this year. Rooks wanted to see me do reviews on both of them, so I went back and found Iron Sky 1, and I'm going to talk about it. And in case I forget to mention later, check out Rooks and check out the Baddest Dudes on Baddest Dudes channel. Baddest Dudes are cool dudes that I've known for a while. This movie, Iron Sky, came out in 2012, but it's set in 2018. We see a spacecraft landing on the moon. One of the astronaut dudes jumps out onto the planet, and he starts walking to where like the dark, the edge of like the dark, shadowy, dark side of the moon is, and he's like, holy shit, what's going on over here? And some like space Nazis show up and shoot him in the head. And then they walk over and they find the other American astronaut guy and they kidnap him. And apparently up there's this thing called helium-3. It never really gets brought up what helium-3 does, I don't think, in the movie. But it's it's the magical thing, and the Nazis are on the moon trying to mine. There's a whole bunch of Nazis, almost like a civilization of Nazis. There's this blonde Nazi woman teaching a class on one of the Nazi moon base places. Ladies teaching the class, like, where are we? The dark side of the moon! Udo Kier is in this. Udo Kier shows up as the current moon Führer, I guess, and they bring the American astronaut guy to Udo Kier. I'm gonna call him Moon Udo. I'm gonna call him Menudo. So Menudo sees astronaut dude, and one of the guys says Heil Hitler, and he starts coughing, and that becomes like a running thing in the movie. I didn't realize was a thing. Like every time somebody says Heil Hitler, he coughs because like he wants them to say his name instead of Hitler's name, I guess. Back on Earth, we have a scene with Madam President, and apparently she sent those two guys up to space as a publicity stunt so that people would think she was a good president or whatever, want to re-elect her or something. So the astronaut black dude American guy, he's surrounded with this group of moon Nazis, and he's able to like turn around, pick up his helmet, and like very slowly like smack like 5 of them with the helmet, while the like a few of them are just standing there just watching him do it. And then he kind of runs over to the side of a thing, and he jumps off the edge, and he lands on a thing, and then he's like, yeah, I made it, I escaped, you bitches. Nazi school teacher girl and astronaut dude, they find each other, and somehow like an airlock gets activated, and so the airlock thing starts opening, and they start getting sucked out, but he like grabs onto an edge, and then he's blonde Nazi lady starts flying out, and he grabs her, and he ends up throwing her back in, and they close the door, and so she's thankful for him saving her life. Other douchebag Nazi guy that is named Klaus, so I'll just call him Klaus from now on, he decides he's going to let astronaut dude live because he says he knows the president. The moon Nazis they got the cell phone from the astronaut guy, and he's like, it's a phone, and it's also a computer, and they're like, there's no way this could be a computer looks like this, and it's a big huge thing, and he's like, man, you gotta be kidding me, you got a little tiny cell phone thing, and it can do all this shit, and they're like, this is nonsense, he's stupid, stupid. We meet Asian-ish Jennifer Lawrence, the poor man's Jennifer Lawrence, so I'm just gonna call her AJ Law, and so you guys will know that means Asian Jennifer Lawrence. There's a scene with her. She's talking about meeting the president. She's got a bunch of people around her. They keep saying stupid shit to her. She keeps saying stupid shit back to them. And it's just bad writing. This is like a high school kid wrote it or something. The Nazi scientist guy that has astronaut guy's cell phone realizes that he built this ridiculous USB device thing so he can plug their giant ship into the phone and realize that like the phone is powerful enough to like start this giant ship that's like their ultimate weapon. And so he plugs it in using this ridiculously huge cord thing that he made, and he calls it the USB, the Universal Binding System. So the ship starts up for a minute, and then the phone is on like dead battery, so it starts up and they're all excited, and then immediately it goes down and they're like, So they decide they need to go to Earth and gather all the cell phones to power the ship. At some point, I think it's a Nazi teacher lady. She gets into the chamber where astronaut dude is like bound to a table or whatever, and she's like, "What's wrong with your skin?" And he's like, "What do you mean? You never seen a brother before or whatever?" And it's just so bad. It's just bad dialogue writing. Ugh. She tells him he needs to act like a Nazi, or otherwise he's gonna die. Nazi scientist guy comes in. He gives him a drug of some kind. But in the next scene, they're about to get on a UFO-looking thing because they're gonna go to Earth to talk to the president, conquer Earth, and also get the cell phones so they can power the ship. So then we see astronaut black guy is now astronaut black guy in whiteface. He apparently the drug they gave him made him have whiteface and blonde hair and like really weird looking like contacts, like blue eyes or something. It looks really, really bad and weird. He is going to go with Klaus, Nazi dude, and probably some other Nazi people to Earth to do the thing. But when they land, they realize the lady teacher Nazi had stowed aboard, and she's coming with them because she wants to see what's going on and visit Earth or whatever. I'm not gonna call him astronaut man anymore. I'm gonna call him black white face man. Black white face man decides to go over and he's like, don't kill him. I know them. I'm one of them. I'll talk to him and everything will be cool. But he doesn't realize that he's got fucking whiteface right now. So he goes and starts talking to him, and they're like, what the fuck? And they start chasing him and shooting at him and shit, and he's able to get in the van and like drive off with them. And there's this just a really bad back and forth where he's in the back seat and he's talking to Klaus and teacher girl, and you did this to me. I can't believe you sons of bitches did this to me. You turned me into fucking whiteface man. Somehow they find AJ Law, Asian Jennifer Lawrence, and they kidnap her because they find out she knows the president. It's all very circumstantial. They meet with Lady President. Nazi teacher girl has a big speech that she gives to her students, and it's all about, we are good, the best people, and we work hard, and we're healthy, and we're good. And she goes on a whole big speech thing, and the president lady's like, this is good. I can use you. And so she decides to like let her write the speeches for her re-election campaign or whatever. By the way, the president, it looks just like Sarah Palin. Obviously, it's supposed to be like a Sarah Palin thing. I started noticing that every time this movie would kind of like start to make me smile, I would just go like, ugh, cringe. Like every time it starts drawing me in, it was just like, ugh. Somehow Black White Face Man is now like living on the streets, and he's dressed like a bum, and he's yelling at everybody, there's Nazis on the moon, I was an astronaut, and I went up there, and there's Nazis on the dark side of the moon, and everybody's like, shut up, crazy person. Nazi teacher lady finds him on the street, and she's like, thank you so much for helping us or whatever, and he's like, screw you lady, I hate you. And so they get into this little fight thing, and it's kind of silly, but they sort of make up. Nazi lady decides to take Black White Face Man to a Charlie Chaplin movie that was about Hitler. I forgot what it was called. But they go in and they come out and they're like, that was ridiculous. Or she says, that was terrible. That's not at all the way things should be. And he's like, you don't know about like Nazis and Hitler and how bad things were or whatever, like during all that shit. And she was like, no, that's not at all what we were doing, like what we have been doing or whatever. The Nazis like went to the moon a long time ago and didn't see like how the war turned out or whatever. So they don't know that Nazis were assholes. For some reason, AJ Law just starts trying to fuck Klaus. I have no idea why. Out of nowhere, she just decides she's really attracted to this guy. Fucking it's nonsense. And I noticed a couple of times when she starts saying shit, she starts working with Klaus, dude. She says, order the moon invasion. And she starts laughing, and I was like, I think she's just laughing because this is stupid. And then later she says Moon Führer, and she starts laughing again. And I think that was real laughter. I don't think that was in the script. I think she was just like, that sounds ridiculous coming out of my mouth. So AJ Law and Klaus are like they're about to bang, but they hear a voice. It's Moon Udo Kier. It's Menudo. He shows up. He's there. Moon Führer guy. AJ Law is taken away to a room where you hear a gunshot. So she's dead. The Moon Nazis start releasing their Moon Nazi ships, and they're shaped like like zeppelins, like the old Nazi zeppelins, but they're spaceships. And that was kind of fun. It's kind of a nice touch. Klaus is about to be killed by Menudo, but he's stopped because here's some machine gun shots, and the bad guys that are about to kill Klaus die because AJ Law didn't actually die. She killed the other guy by tricking him into thinking he was going to get a blowjob. There's kind of a funny little scene where there's these two Nazi dudes still in the weird moon helmets, and they're looking at porn. They're like looking at some porn magazines. None of these women have any hair, no bush hair. They're like, they look like little babies. Except for the ones that have hair that looks like our Führer. They're talking about the little Hitler mustache bush, and I thought that was a little bit funny. So AJ Law shot Menudo, so I thought he was dead, but he's not dead. He follows him out to a rooftop or whatever. The guy tries to trick him and says Heil Hitler. That triggers his cough thing. So he starts coughing up more blood, and then Klaus kicks him in the head, and he's dead. So they get back on their little UFO ship, and they fly back up to the advancing moon Nazi ships. So there's a little bit of an air battle with the Nazi spaceship UFOs and the American fighter pilots and shit. So Black White Face Man is now the reluctant hero. The Nazi teacher lady keeps kind of dragging him along and saying, like, I need your help. You got to do this. I can't do it alone. There's some goofy jokes, like when they're in the UN or whatever, and Sarah Palin lady's there, and the other countries are there, and it's all like parody satire on like different countries and her being, the American president, whatever. It's very, very dumb, and it's very Dr. Evil. It's like she's a bad guy. The moon Nazis are bad guys, except for teacher Nazi lady. Earth Nazis were bad. Moon Nazis are bad. American president lady and the Americans might be bad. So it's like, who am I rooting for? What the fuck is this movie? So the Americans send some ships up into space to retaliate. Not just the battle over the city. They're actually sending crazy ships up to fight the big Nazi ships. And one of them's called the USS George W. Bush. It's piloted by AJ Law. They start blowing up ships. The Russians and the Australians and the Canadians all send their own ships up to space to help out. And the Australian ship is the USS Dundee. Klaus gets back to their big ultimate weapon ship, and he managed to grab like an iPad, and that's the thing that's gonna power the big machine weapon. One of the good guys presses a button that starts one of the Nazi songs playing, so like all of the Nazis have to stop what they're doing, put up their arm, and just listen to the Nazi song, and that allows them to like just walk around and like escape like behind them and shit. Here's a moment that I actually thought was really good. She, Nazi teacher lady, confronts Klaus and like tries to get him to stop, but he's not gonna stop, so he's about to kill her. And she's like, yes, but you're such a good man. You're the greatest. You're the best. You're gonna be the best Führer in the whole world. She kind of looks away while he's pointing the gun, and she sees a lamp thing that has like a busted light, and it's like sparking over here. And then she turns back to him and kind of starts giving him compliments, and then like inching over to the thing. And then at the end, she's like, I already called it. I was like, if they do that, this is going to get at least a little bit of a couple of points from me. Because what they do, and I called it, was she tricks him over there, and then she says Heil Klaus, or whatever his name is. He puts up his arm right into the fucking electric socket and goes, give you a couple of points. Black White Face Man is able to get to the control place, has a fight with Scientist Man, kills him, and then takes the tablet thing out, and the big ship goes down. They manage to escape and fly back to Earth. President Palin lady finds out that the moon Nazis had helium-3, and they were mining for it, and she just decides to say, the helium-3 is ours, we own it. And all the UN people, like, AJ Law lady survived, and she is now in charge of protecting the helium-3, so says President lady. Nazi teacher lady decides that she's going back to Nazi moon teaching. But there's no more saluting. She's gonna do a lot of things different. She learned that the way that the old Earth Nazis were doing things was bad, and they're gonna try to un-Nazify what's going on. Black White Face Man shows up in the classroom, but he's back to normal, back to regular black. Goes up to teacher lady, and They start kissing. One of the older people in the classroom stands up and she's like, "Are you aware you're kissing a black man?" It's just like, who fucking wrote this? As the credits are playing, it's pulling back and we see the Earth, and like everybody on Earth is nuking each other. So here are all the reasons that I did not like this movie. It had a lot of political satire stuff, and I usually, you guys know me, I don't like political stuff. I don't like talking about it all that much. This is a satire. It's supposed to be a comedy. It's supposed to be a parody, a goof, a spoof. But I feel like they really missed the mark because the dialogue was confusing, dumb. Just like the jokes they weren't jokes. They weren't good. They didn't make sense. They didn't work. There may have been a couple of decent actors. I mean, I like Udo Kier. But he didn't have a lot to do. He didn't have like a whole lot of dialogue in this. The Nazi teacher lady was fairly likable. She wasn't terrible. I hated the way they wrote the black astronaut dude. Klaus, I guess, was okay. The visuals are very good. The ships all looked great. The battles and explosions and special effects stuff, that was all pretty good. And also the sets, the background and the practical stuff, the sets and the costumes were pretty good. The one bad CG part, I would say, the one that stuck out to me was when the astronauts first show up on the moon. Their astronaut costumes look really, really fake and weird. They look like rubbery, Gumby dudes. The story itself is kind of fun and goofy. I don't feel like it was executed all that well. I really honestly think they brought in the character I kept calling AJ Law, because she looked like Jennifer Lawrence, and Jennifer Lawrence was popular and has been popular for a while. It's like the movie Kung Fury and like Doctor Who is like a long, weird Doctor Who episode with like weird Kung Fury shit. And there are subtitles, like I said, so it's mostly subtitles. So if you don't like reading while you're watching a movie, then you're probably not gonna like that. I have to admire the craft that goes into making these kinds of films. I can praise them for that. I feel like they took a swing and they missed, in my opinion. I did not really have fun watching it, but it was a little bit of a distraction. I mean, there were moments where I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of something. But overall, I was just kind of like, ugh. I wish something good would happen. I wish somebody would say something like actually funny or like smart or clever. Nah. You're not going to get that in this one. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you're feeling or thinking about this movie, these types of movies. Maybe people did like it. I don't know. This one in particular, just not for me. Anyway, bye guys. This movie, so... go and this I don't know. They've got us. It's and Klaus and and she's like, it's like the not and then the one of the and she keeps and it's Mudo Kier. What did I call it? Menudo.